Some coaches command respect. Pep Guardiola commands reverence. At 55, he has won more than 40 trophies across Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and Manchester City, the only manager to win the continental treble twice. He didn't just coach greatness, he manufactured it, turning gifted boys into eternal legends. He shared a dressing room with icons and built dynasties from the ground up. So when a man who has seen everything football can offer finally opens up about the 5 players who left the deepest mark on him, you listen. These aren't just his most talented pupils. These are the ones who changed how he saw the game itself. And some of the names and the reasons behind them are going to catch you completely off guard. Stay with me, because number 5 carried a rivalry Pep never fully escaped. Before continuing, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you do not miss any videos. And tell us in the comments which city you're watching from. The name surprises no one, and that's exactly the point. Lionel Messi. Of all the debates Guardiola refuses to entertain, this one he settles instantly. With all due respect to Pelé and Diego Maradona, Lionel Messi is the GOAT, in my opinion, he said. But the story of how they truly met is less about talent and more about trust. When Pep took over Barcelona in 2008, he made a decision that reshaped football. He rebuilt the entire team around a small, quiet Argentine, inventing the false 9 to unleash him. The gamble was total. And Messi repaid it with numbers that read like fiction. 211 goals in the 4 seasons Guardiola coached him. 2 Champions League titles, 3 league crowns. Pep once described watching him up close in almost spiritual terms. When you see him up close, you think of Tiger Woods or Michael Jordan. That's the company Messi keeps in Guardiola's mind, not other footballers, but the rarest athletes who ever lived. He occupies the top spot because he was proof that Pep's ideas could touch perfection. But greatness, Pep learned, doesn't always wear the number 10. Everyone assumed the second name would be another superstar striker. It wasn't. It was Andrés Iniesta, the man Guardiola once said the press ignored because he was too ordinary to sell. Iniesta doesn't dye his hair, he doesn't wear earrings, and he hasn't got any tattoos. Maybe that makes him unattractive to the media, but he is the best. This is a different kind of admiration, and Pep knew it. Behind the scenes, the story becomes almost prophetic. Long before the world understood what Iniesta was, Guardiola turned to Xavi and said the words that would haunt a generation of midfielders. "You're going to retire me, but this kid's going to retire us all." What made Iniesta unique wasn't speed or power. It was the impossible ability to escape any trap, to slip past a challenge that looked certain. Messi himself couldn't explain it. Iniesta made the list not because of statistics, but because he embodied something Pep believed couldn't be taught or bought. And that idea, the unteachable player, leads straight to the man who defined it. There will never be another Xavi. Guardiola didn't say it as a compliment. He said it as a fact. Xavi Hernández was the metronome, the brain, the heartbeat of the greatest team Pep ever built. What made him special was invisible to most fans. The pass before the pass, the constant scanning, the decision made a half second before anyone else even saw the option. There's a story that captures it perfectly. Pep once joked that Xavi was already a good player in his mother's womb, but his real reverence was for something deeper. "I hope future players learn from him in the way that I learned from his love for the game," Guardiola said. "There wasn't a single day that went by when I didn't see him enjoy it." As a coach, Pep didn't manage Xavi so much as build cathedrals around him. Within that Barcelona side, Xavi was the axis everything rotated on. His legacy? He turned possession into a philosophy, one Pep carried to Munich, to Manchester, to the whole modern game. Not every player Pep admires is an artist. Some are simply unstoppable. Kevin De Bruyne. His defining quality was ruthlessness disguised as elegance. A passer who could win a match with one impossible ball, and a fighter who never hid. He arrived at Manchester City as a talented but doubted attacker, and under Guardiola, evolved into arguably the most complete midfielder on earth. Even Xavi, a man not easily impressed, admitted De Bruyne was on another level, the best in the world. The numbers stacked up season after season. Assists that broke records, goals from nothing, entire games bent to his will. Pep admired him for a reason that goes beyond talent. De Bruyne played through pain, through pressure, through everything, and demanded the same of everyone around him. He was the engine of a team that dominated English football like no side before it, and his impact was historic. He helped deliver City's first-ever Champions League and a treble. But the final name on Pep's list carried something none of the others did. The relationship began with a problem. When Guardiola arrived at Bayern Munich, Robert Lewandowski wasn't even his player yet, and he was a rival, a threat, a striker Pep had schemed against. When Lewandowski finally joined, the two ambitious, stubborn perfectionists had to learn each other. In the early days, it was friction. Two men who both believed they were right. But slowly, that tension became something extraordinary. Lewandowski evolved under Guardiola into a relentless, near-mechanical goal machine, producing one of the most staggering feats the sport has seen, including 5 goals in 9 minutes in a single match. The decisive moments piled up, Bundesliga title after Bundesliga title, until admiration replaced resistance. Pep came to respect him not despite his stubbornness, but because of it, and that same hunger was what made him unstoppable. Lewandowski earned his place by proving that greatness can be forged through conflict, not just harmony. And perhaps that's why he stayed with Pep the longest mentally. The player who started as an obstacle and became a masterpiece. 5 players, 5 completely different reasons. And when you lay them side by side, you start to understand something about Pep Guardiola that trophies alone could never explain. Think about who they were. Lionel Messi, the impossible genius Pep rebuilt an entire team around. The man he ranks above Pelé and Maradona without hesitation. The player who made perfection look inevitable. Andrés Iniesta, the quiet magician who wore no tattoos and sold no headlines, yet slipped past every trap the game threw at him. The boy Pep once said would retire us all. Xavi, the mind who turned passing into a religion. The metronome whose love for the game taught even Guardiola how to see football differently. Kevin De Bruyne, the relentless force who played through pain and pressure and bent entire matches to his will, dragging Manchester City to heights they'd never touched. And Robert Lewandowski, the rival who became a masterpiece, the stubborn perfectionist whose friction with Pep forged one of the most lethal goal scorers the sport has ever produced. Notice what these 5 men have in common, which is almost nothing. One was a dribbler, one a passer, one a thinker, one an engine, one a finisher. One arrived as a phenomenon, another as a doubt, another as an enemy. That's the whole point. Guardiola didn't admire them because they shared a style. He admired each of them because they taught him a different lesson about genius, about humility, about work, about conflict, about the parts of great nurses you simply cannot coach. That's why these names, and not a neat row of identical superstars, are the ones that stayed with him. Each carved a mark on his career that no title, no trophy, no record could ever replace. And that's what makes this list so revealing. It's not really a ranking of talent. It's a map of everything that shaped the greatest coaching mind in modern football, the players who changed him, not just his results. If this video gave you a new way of seeing Pep and the legends he built, Do me a favor, smash that like button and hit subscribe so the algorithm knows to keep these coming. Because in the very next video, we're going somewhere darker, the players Pep clashed with the most, the arguments behind closed doors, and one name that is going to shock you. You don't want to miss it. I'll see you there.